3 days. That's how long the war would last. In 3 days, the fate of their nation would be decided, and the wills of the men, and Tommy, who created it, would be tested beyond their limits. But before they could begin a revolution, their great nation needed a name. And Tommy had just the idea.
Wilbur, I've had the idea. I've had the idea.
Oh, I have a lot.
Oh my god.
Manberg. Or, alternatively, Mantopia.
I like Mantopia.
Yeah?
How do we make it European? Le Manberg.
Le Manberg.
Le
Yeah, that's
Manberg.
funny. Le Manberg. Where do you live? I live in the state of Le Manberg.
After the name was decided, the fellow citizens began to build a wall to distinguish their land from the greater Dream SMP. In their new nation, anyone would be allowed to make potions without being arrested, and the tyranny of Dream and his fellow Americans would no longer affect them. This was the dream. And along with Wilbur, Tommy, and Tubbo, Fundy and Eret joined the new nation. Upon hearing the news of revolution brewing on the server, Dream went to confront the members of L'Manberg. This time, they didn't hide anything. The team explained that everything inside the walls was their land and would be governed and cared for by them, separately and under no rule of the greater Dream SMP. Included would be Tommy's Hill House, which would remain property of their nation as the L'Manberg Embassy. Dream, however, was not convinced and left to conspire with his friends about what to do. Before long, Dream began bribing Tommy to leave L'Manberg and rejoin the greater Dream SMP. But he would have to do better than that if he wanted someone to turn. That being said, Wilbur still questioned Tommy's devotion to the cause.
All you've done for this nation is you're one of the faces of it, right?
Thank you.
But you need to understand that you've done very little in terms of setup. I mean, look behind you. Look at Eret working hard.
As the two continued to talk, Wilbur still questioned whether Tommy was truly devoted to the revolution or just there to be a face of the nation. And after they reached an agreement, Phase 2 of Wilbur's plan began to take shape. But then, Tommy noticed something out of place. After alerting the rest of the squad about what was happening, Tommy saw it's Alyssa walking away from the fire. She had taken it too far, and as the team chased her down, she logged out to escape death. The team camped where she disconnected. Wilbur convinced Tommy to take off his armor and use his words, as he would not let their new nation of L'Manberg become the very thing he sought to destroy. Upon Alyssa rejoining, she began to run and Tommy killed her anyway. For Wilbur, this was the final straw, and when they all got back to L'Manberg, he temporarily dismissed Tommy, making him go back to his home in the greater Dream SMP. Word got out that Tubbo was being held hostage by Dream, Sapnap, and Puns, but they took him hostage as well. After Tubbo revealed that he had invisibility potions, Dream and Sapnap decided they could not risk them escaping with their stuff and killed both of them. With this, Wilbur knew it was time. Time to make their revolution official. To free themselves of the tyranny and the aggression of the greater Dream SMP, and to officially declare their independence. Independence. And after some writing, Wilbur Sood, the leader of the great nation of L'Manberg, had drafted their Declaration of Independence. Forever the nation of the Dream SMP have cast great sins upon our great land of the Hata Dog Van. They have robbed us, imprisoned us, threatened us, killed many of our men. This time of tyranny ends with us. This book declares that the nation which shall be henceforth known as L'Manberg is separate, emancipated, and independent from the nation of Dream SMP. The union of the masters of men. Together we are one. when in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one to dissolve the bonds which bind us, disregarding of this truth is nothing short of tyranny. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. The right of the people exists above the right of the king, the right of the government, and the right of the economy. From the Hata Dog van, we shall prevail. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of victory. This document was signed by all members of L'Manberg and represented much more than a mere book. These words were what held the nation together, a vow of brotherhood that would only end in independence or death. With the framing of the book, the nation of L'Manberg showed itself as a force to be reckoned with. And to Dream, this marked the point of no return. As long as L'Manberg stood, Dream knew he couldn't have control. And so, him, George, Sapnap, and Puns drafted another document. The Declaration of War. Unlike the first war for Tommy's discs, this time there was much more at stake. This was not just a war for independence, but a war for power. And Dream would stop at nothing to put L'Manberg in the ground, if it was the last thing he'd do. With the reality of war beginning to set in, both sides began to prepare. Off-stream, Tubbo had gathered potions to aid them in the coming battles. Meanwhile, Dream had burned down Tubbo's house. Because Dream was offline, Tommy and Tubbo used this time to attempt to convince the members of the Dream SMP Guard that they were on the wrong side. They began this by tempting Puns with a meaningless title, hoping he'd get excited and betray his friends. Next, Tommy had an idea to tempt Dream. He stated that if Dream refrained from attacking them, he would give up one of the discs. Tommy's most prized possessions on the SMP and the result of a hard-fought war would be put on the line for independence. But as Tommy and Tubbo were leaving Dream's base, their entire army logged on at once. Tubbo was gunned down by Dream as Tommy fled to the sewers. All of the potions that Tubbo had gathered were lost upon his death, being burned by Dream. Soon, everyone joined the call and reality began to set in. The Dream SMP army was there, and L'Manberg's was not. All Tommy and Tubbo could do was stall them and hope for the best. As Tommy arrived at his house to speak with Dream and his army, he found the entire property laced with TNT. As a final effort, Tommy attempted to convince Dream he was in the wrong, but he would have none of it. The line had already been crossed, damage had been done, and doom was imminent. Dream and his men gave Tommy and the rest of L'Manberg 1 day. 1 day to surrender, or everything they owned would be destroyed. And so, as Wilbur received the news, the true preparation for the final battle began.
Tommy and Wilbur and the rest of L'Manchildberg, we are at war.
Do you know what we have that they don't have? We have camaraderie. We have a righteous cause. We have an area to defend.
There is no mercy. We have burnt down Tubbo's house. We have planted TNT cannons around your land. We have cobblestone walled the outside, and we have shot one warning shot inside your walls.
No matter what happens, no matter even if he destroys the very hot dog van that we live out of, until the day we stop breathing, that is when L'Manberg has fallen.
And we have no mercy! No mercy for you!
Do you know what he's driven by? Greed. Do you know what we're driven by? The defense of our land.
Do you understand? We will come, we will burn down your houses.
He can destroy the walls.
We will kill everything inside your walls.
He can slaughter our friends, our family.
And we will take back the land that is rightfully ours.
But until the day we stop breathing, the minute we let go of that dream, that's when he has won. Men, are you going to let go of that dream?
I want to see white flags! White flags outside your base by tomorrow at dawn, or you are dead!
August 4th, the day of reckoning. And as Dream and his army looked to the skies of L'Manberg, no flags flew. Today, there will be war. Before Wilbur logged on, Tommy and Tubbo were attacked. After losing a few useless items, they retreated to L'Manberg where they waited for the official start of the war. Then their leader Wilbur joined the server. With Dream and his men camping the cobblestone wall they had built around part of L'Manberg, the revolutionaries retreated to the van and began to create a plan of action. Wilbur emphasized the importance of the element of surprise, as their team was completely outgeared by Dream's army. While they discussed their plan, Dream and his men spread to each wall, surrounding them. Staying true to their peaceful origins, now was not the time to armor up. Using their words, Wilbur and Tommy attempted one final time to resolve things peacefully. But once again, it didn't work. And as the two sides regrouped, they prepared for the Battle of the Ages. The war for independence, and most of all, the war for power.